woke up and it was 3 degrees below zero today. So I wanted to do some stuff in the kitchen. Today we're going to learn how to make, well, I already know, I'm going to teach you how I make bone broth with chicken bones. You might ask, why bother making bone broth? Can't you buy it in the store? I've seen it in the store. Well, the reason why you make bone broth is because the stuff in the store just isn't really, it's like anything else. It's process. So bone broth, especially if you have a lot of cartilage still on the bones, it just makes like a really good, it has a lot of collagen in it, which is good for your hair and your skin and your nails and your joints, your connective tissues. It's good for your intestines. And it's just really good. I mean, if you tried bone broth from the store, it's like, I just didn't really like it. I didn't like it either. But when you make it yourself, it's delicious. It's very umami. It has a lot of, and I have used it when I do a fast. I sometimes fast, and I'll use it for the first couple of days just to get through the first initial hunger periods. But lately I've been using the bone broth to make soup because it's so cold out and there's nothing like a nice cozy bowl of soup. So I have this one recipe that my husband and I just love, and it's called Italian wedding soup. And you make meatballs to go into it, but the base is my bone broth. And the first time I made it, I didn't use bone broth. I just used chicken broth from the store. It was good. We made it again, but to make it with the bone broth, now that's a whole nother story. That's what I'm going to be making with this bone broth, is a nice warm pot of Italian meatball soup. And these are just chicken bones, like you get a rotisserie chicken or your roasted chicken or whatever. You save the carcass, throw it in the freezer when you get a couple of them. Make bone broth. Also, a lot of times I buy chicken thighs, and I cut the bone out and I flatten them with my meat pounder and I cook them like I do a breast. They just have more flavor to them than breast. I'm just tried to eat chicken breast, and I just prefer thighs, and so does my family. Plus, they're cheaper than chicken breasts. So I save those bones. I have two of these. This is from like a big family pack of chicken thighs, each one. And 2 rotisserie chicken carcasses that I've had in the freezer. I also, when I cut up onions, a lot of times I buy my garlic in bulk. And I always end up, you have your ends of onions. I just throw them in a bag in the freezer, and I'm just going to dump them in with my bone broth. I'm not even going to worry about the onion skin that's on here. I'm just going to throw it in because it doesn't matter. Onion skin isn't trash. You're not going to eat it. You're just going to have the broth anyway. I'll also show you, those when you do garlic and the inside pieces are just teeny tiny and they're just a pain to skin them, and I throw those in the bag too, and then I throw them in my bone broth. I just smash them up and leave the skins on. No worries. Also, carrots, if you're cutting up carrots, you could, if you peel carrots, you can scrub the carrots and save the peels. I don't. I give those to my chickens because they just love them. But, like the ends that you cut off and the tips, I'll throw those in the freezer too. And by the time I'm ready to do bone broth, I have everything I need. Now, the ones that I removed from the thighs are raw. So I'm going to throw them in the oven to roast them. I think I'm going to broil them just to bring out the flavor in them. And yeah, they're frozen in chunks. And this is recycled aluminum foil. Oh yeah, on that. So while those bones are in the oven roasting, once they thawed a little bit and I can separate them, I'll salt and pepper them or put whatever seasonings. Now when I make bone broth, I pretty much put everything in that I would put in like a pot roast. I'm using my crock pot because that's the easiest way. I don't have time to babysit it all day. So I'm going to dump in my frozen chicken carcasses. My frozen veggie pieces and parts. Also, I just threw in these Brussels sprout trimmings. You know how you always have extra trimmings from Brussels sprouts? And, you know, these little teeny tiny pieces of garlic. I don't have time to peel these. They're just going in there. There's some pieces of carrot. I scrubbed this carrot. I'm going to just cut that up and put it into. My filtered water. I have a Berkey. I don't know if you're not familiar with a Berkey, you gotta check it out. If you want really good filtered water, love my Berkey. I bought it when we were traveling around in the camper because not everybody's campground had good water. It was, and it really bothers you, you know, your pets change their water, change their food, and that is not a good thing. So they were drinking the filtered water from the Berkey. Perfect. And they had no problems. In fact, they got so used to drinking that filtered water that they wouldn't drink anything else. They still drink filtered water. Rosemary. Ugh, I love rosemary. I keep a plant out on my sunroom and I just trim off whenever I need it. I'm going to put a little dried basil. I had a basil plant that over harvested it. Little thyme. Black peppercorns. I don't know how many it's just in there. Bay leaves. 1, 2. If one's good, two's better. Liquid aminos. You can use soy sauce. I love liquid aminos. You can also use Worcestershire sauce or fish sauce. And some apple cider vinegar. Now, I like to use Bragg's. I love Bragg's. But when I'm cooking, it's kind of pointless to spend the extra on Bragg's for that because the heat would, you know, kind of destroys the beneficial bacteria. So we're just going to use distilled old apple cider vinegar. The vinegar kind of helps extract from the bones the flavor and the nutrients. So I'm just going to put the lid on for now. I'm going to get it going on high. And mine has a setting for high for 4 hours and a setting for high for 6 hours. And then it has low for 8 hours and 10 hours. Now I'm going to be turning this thing on for a couple days probably. I like to keep it going for about 36 hours. And it's going to go to warm, and you just kind of just got to keep turning it on. I used to have one that would stay on until you turned it off, but that one gave up the ghost, so I got this. And do not open the lid. Don't check it. Don't taste it. I'm going to open the lid to add the other bones when they're done, but other than that, don't open the lid. Don't dilute it. Alright, here's the raw chicken bones. I finally got them all broke up. Put salt and pepper on them. A little garlic salt, and they're going to go back in the oven for a little longer. Doing them quick on broil on high. So I'm going to dump those in the pot, and then if I need to add water I will, but I don't think I will. You want the water at least you know, not to the lip, just below that. I did add just a little bit more water. Alright, I added the bones and all the yummy juices that came off of those bones, and as you can see, it's not quite to the lip, but it's just below the lip. And this is going to cook down quite a bit, a couple inches down, and that's when it starts tasting really good. Alright, here it is. It's been 46 hours, between 46 and 48 hours, and you can see it's cooked down probably almost 3 inches, 2.5 inches down, and it's nice and concentrated. So I'm going to remove the bones and the chunks. The bones go in the trash. The vegetables are going to go out to my chickens. I'm going to strain the bone broth through there into nice clean canning jars. I wash these in hot soapy water. If I was going to process them, I would sterilize them. Now you can, once you get these jars full and you sterilize them in the lids and follow the proper procedures for canning, you have to use a pressure canner, and I used to have one, but I sold it. I'll probably get another one in the future. But for now, I'm going to take this bone broth and I'm going to put it in these jars because I'm going to use it to make soup. And I'll probably be making soup within the next couple days. So it can just sit in the refrigerator until I'm ready to use it. So I've got a pan here with some of my aluminum foil, but I'm going to throw it away with the bones in it. I don't want my dogs getting into these, so they're not going to go. I wouldn't feed them to my chickens anyway. They'd probably eat them, but I just think it's wrong to feed chickens chicken bones and chicken. Alright, here's my yummy bone broth. I got 2 quart jars, and those are filled to the brim. Now if I was going to process those so I could store them, I would not have them filled that far. I'd probably go about to here, so you leave enough headroom. And if you remember, I used 3 of those bottles of water, and this is what I have. There's the veggies for the chickens. And this is what the bones look like when you've cooked. Now these bones here are from the carcasses that have already been cooked once, and you can see just how brittle. I mean, they just kind of turn to mush, and they're very clean. So they just fall apart. Everything's been extracted from them pretty much. Now, and this is, I mean, just little bits and pieces. I'm going to throw this stuff away because I don't want to feed the chickens chicken, and I don't want the dogs to get bone particles. Now, the thigh leg bones, they still have cartilage and little bit pieces of meat, and now the ends are a little brittle. But I could actually use those again as long as I mixed them with other bones. But they still have something to give, so I'll probably save those back in the freezer until I get more chicken bones, and I'll make another batch. But they still have something to give. You don't have to, but I like to get as much as I can out of everything, and there's still a lot of cartilage. It makes a lot of collagen. The collagen comes from the cartilage, so there's still a lot of that to extract yet. You can see it's really easy to make bone broth. Other stuff you can add to the crock pot with celery, but I didn't happen to have any. I did add some celery seed and some celery salt, and I also added about a tablespoon of Himalayan salt, which I forgot to add initially. And I hope you'll give it a try. It's really easy and it's really healthy, and I hope this takes the mystery out of it.